Hey guys, so this is Sonia,
It's Aaliyah.
and we're going to be showing you guys a reading that we did for the Cancer new moon that is on Saturday, and that's in Sidereal, and also it's a partial solar eclipse, which is going to be the end of our eclipse season.
Right? Exciting. And it's in some type of conjunction with Mercury. I think it's going to be leaving its conjunction. But either way, it'll be it's still a conjunction. So Mercury and the Sun blending together with the Moon. It's a lot of, Cancer. Sidereal Cancer.
Information, a lot of downloads. So if you find yourself brain going too much, just breathe deeper. Okay. So the first cards that I pulled, and I'm going to group them together, sorry, I kind of dipped, is Destiny. You can see that. King of Air as well. And Two of Air. And with that being said, it's allowing us to really know we choose the openings for what we want to do with our lives, what we want to conduct ourselves as, and the changes that we want to move forward into. And with like the presence of air, I feel like it's reminding us, you don't have to overthink, but definitely allow your mind to trust your body, to trust your spirit, to trust what you intuitively feel you want to do, and be able to not only communicate that with yourself, but communicate that to others, to the people around you. And even if you are in opposition or you come across others who may not be, or may not have the reins to understand the same things as you, still being able to speak your truth and be able to be a clear vessel for your truth without being held back, without feeling as though you have to be a certain image for someone, or you have to be a certain expression of yourself in order to be received. Allow yourself to, again, because two of air is about balance, and then I'll show it again just very tensely. It's about honoring both sides of yourself, both halves, not just as separate, but as a whole part.
Sure. So mine's intuitive, so there's not necessarily a structure that I set in place, but a lot of the themes that I did find are similar to these, where it's a lot of air energy, but it's a lot of intense air energy, not good or bad, but the more negative manifestations of the air energy, the stressful ones. So I have the Eight of Swords, the Three of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. So again, I don't think they're good or bad necessarily, but I do, recognize the limitations that they end up putting, and the way that our minds put limitations on our experiences sometimes through perspective or through identifying things that aren't true because of the things and the images we create in our head. And what so that's one element that is very prominent. But the main, what I want to start with is sort of the main themes that are going to be super present, which is the devil, which we got last time we did our Eclipse thing video, the hermit, which is going to be a major theme, and the hanged man, which I feel like we got last time too, but I'm not sure. Yeah, one of the pulled it, yeah. So it's basically trying to really bring out this idea that this is going to be a time where you really have to go introspective. Like, this isn't like a joke anymore, or it's something to take lightly. It is something where you really are going to have to go inside of yourself to really reflect and think, and not even just in an isolated moment, but be in a constant awareness of what you're thinking and how you're feeling and what is triggering this, or what is influencing that, or what is prompting this, or what is prompting that, and becoming more in tune with your inner self and yourself spiritually. And that's, one of the messages actually of Cancer but it's also telling you that you have to identify what your body's telling you. So when it's telling you to go to sleep, when it's telling you to rest more, when it's telling you to get up, when it's telling you to do all of these different things, sometimes your mind is 3 steps ahead, or is stressing itself out, and the body knows better at times than the mind does. Not always, but in this case, it's something to reflect and think about. With the devil and the hanged man, it's really just, again, that contrast between, are you allowing the material and the things that you believe to be controlling you, your master, are you really just comfortable there? And not necessarily saying that you want to be comfortable there, that you want to be there, that comfort doesn't necessarily mean a good thing. It's something that you're just used to, and you know how to handle, and go through the crevices to find your peace in those different ways. But you really have to learn how to just get out of that space completely, and being able to find your own inner peace through different, through anywhere, not just in the space that you're in. With the hanged man, really saying, because these are the big themes. It's like letting go, and not just letting go in that nothing is in your control. It's just you only can take control of what you can do, which is your perspective of how you're seeing things. That is something that we can control. And I think it really goes under said that is very much a powerful thing. Like, you can really control your perspective. You can really sit and look and think and be like, okay, this is what I think and this is how I'm feeling, but this is actually what's going on, and this is how I have to start seeing it despite whatever I'm feeling. So despite you feeling like there's a lot of chaotic energy going around that is controlling you, you have to sit and think, like, it's not, I have to find my peace in these different places. This is things that are going on around me. That doesn't mean that I have to be in that same energy. I can still detach myself in the way that I have to make my own trajectory, and not be stuck in this partnership with other people that I'm not agreeing to, if that makes sense. Yeah.
That actually segues super beautiful. The next cards that I have pulled was 9 of Air, which is about endings, and again, another card just dealing with allowing yourself to, again, you said, change your perspective. Like, that is a thing you control. Like, 9 is a card of endings. You're going back to 1 so that you can start again. You can unite in another way. You can create a new mindset. And we have death and rebirth. Very beautiful. And sage and healing. And with those, I feel like definitely touch on the fact that right now we're really releasing ourselves from certain patterns, certain aspects that we're continuing to entertain, and possibly even feel as though it isn't harming us. It's like going out every single night and saying, okay, I'm only doing this for a few hours, it's not going to affect me as much, but then not realizing that you're not checking in on yourself. You're not sitting in, and again, you are being introspective. You're not having that time where you are just communicating with only yourself. And I feel like a major theme is reminding us, you do have to balance your interactions with others with the interaction of yourself, and you can't let either or overpower the other. And you can't allow yourself to have to turn to isolation because you aren't getting solitude. And that was something that I personally had to really tap into. You shouldn't have to have yourself be forced to want to be alone. You should always already have that ability to choose. And I feel like we're returning. I believe I pulled the Sage card before, and it came out with the healing card. I feel like that's just reminding us we are our own healer. We're able to know and receive and translate the things that's going to allow us to release, allow us to feel our pain, to allow us to transmute our pain, and also evolve past it. And we don't have to constantly seek out an outer outlet or another person to show us how to heal. Like, other people can be a guide, but we have to also know that we are our own guide, we are our own teacher, and are also our own student. And I just love how you brought the body, because you know our body is going to let us know everything that we need to know about ourselves. So you don't ever have to feel as though you have to run to information. And this is actually something I was thinking about before I came here. How Moon and Mercury are two elements that always translate information. The Moon through the body and through its feeling and the need to nurture, and Mercury through the five senses, which include reading, writing, and speaking. And I feel like with the Sun on top of Mercury, and also just that Cancer energy, we're internalizing a lot of information, and you have to allow yourself to digest that, and you have to allow it to turn into knowledge. So use the way that you're translating your reality, translating your feelings, your thoughts, and your ideas, and use that to your advantage.
I did the first, yeah. Because I ended up doing 9, which is my favorite number, and I always end up doing 9s. But so I was showing you, the 3 swords. I was just kind of pulling them, which I'm not gonna go. They're actually paired with different cards. I just wanted to show you the connection between all this air energy, which we're seeing. I just thought that was something to highlight. But I'll start with the first pair of the 7 of Swords, right, and the Emperor. So, and I think the way I'm a visual person, and something about the way that this word was speaking to me was really showing me just 2 sides of what of choices, basically, of what you can choose to do or what you can choose not to do. One being healthy, the other being a little more unhealthy. And when we're thinking about the devil, right, and that one is relating to the 7 of Swords, and it's really saying you can get away with doing whatever it is that you want to do, kind of not completely well, but just good enough. You take what you take and you leave what you don't want, and blah blah blah. And that kind of you could continue to be controlled by that element. And I can say that as someone who when you're naturally good at something, you kind of take the shortcuts to get to where you need to go, instead of doing what the Emperor is suggesting that you do, and is create order and structure in how you approach these type of things. When you're thinking about your introspection, and when you're thinking about how you're going to be moving forward, you can do it. Okay, I'm going to meditate every 2 days or whatever, and kind of do 20 minutes or do 10, depending on the and just kind of let it slide, or you can take control of that. And it's this weird paradox of letting go or releasing, but also taking not taking control. I wouldn't say that. I think creating structure is a better way. It's this weird or is this odd dynamic that we're not used to. It's a better phrase. Where we're allowing things to flow, but we have to create that internal structure. We have to create that internal discipline. So it's despite whether I have money or in my bank account or not, I'm still cooking at home, and I'm still trying to find healthy food for myself. I'm still trying to live, saving my money, saving for things that I need, despite I'm having a better flow of income. So for example, if I have, I'm getting more money at my job than I was before, I shouldn't change my perspective on how I need to be living necessarily just because I'm getting more money. You still should be thinking about how you need to be living modestly to save up for certain things, and all of those other goals shouldn't shift just because other things outside are happening. You see what I'm saying? It's by allowing, going with the flow can sometimes be a bad phrase, because you feel or is interpreted the wrong way, better said. Where you're kind of just okay, I'm just gonna, if the universe is pushing me to be rich, I'm gonna be rich. It's pushing me to be poor, I'm gonna be poor. And not just in money wise, but just in the sense of your soul. But the truth is all about the balance, and the balance is when you have peace within yourself and structure. So I might not meditate every morning, but at some point in the day I'm meditating. I might not journal every single day, but I'm journaling, consistently enough that it's something that I'm, putting into my habits, into my structure, into something that becomes a mechanism for when things, don't go the way I wanted them or perceived them to go, or I don't know where they were going. I can take time. I'm already reflecting. So when things kind of pop off, I'm already prepared because I have these internal structures already set in motion, and stabilized and built and created outside of whatever is going on. So maybe that's what you have to be thinking about during this time. It's really like, if despite whatever's going on outside, what is going on inside? How calm are you inside? How, dedicated are you to your growth? And how committed are you really to these goals that you're setting for yourself, but somehow never seem to complete? You know what I'm saying? So that's something to think about. And then the second pair, because I'll go into the last pair after you go into the thing. The second pair is the Queen of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. And it's really just talking about how are you perceiving your abundance, honestly, and how are you seeing, the things that you have to offer and the things that are being offered to you. You have to, and again, it's the mental energy, because Seven of Swords, which is, mentally you're checked out, but you're kind of in because you have to do whatever you have to do, but, but that doesn't, you're not thinking, holistically. With the Eight of Swords, you feel stuck because you feel like you have no, you're just really afraid, and there's this fear, and there's this, all of these things that you're creating in your head. And the way you can tell that is, different from the reality is really first of all, who is telling you the things that you're claiming to be true? Because when it was like, oh my God, all these things are true, all these things are true, it's like, well, who's saying it's true? You know what I'm saying? Are you believing that it's true and therefore it's becoming true? So you're saying I'm stuck. I just feel stuck. I feel this. I feel that, and blah blah blah. But how much of it is it actually mentally versus actually your body and your spirit feeling it? That's why you have to go into introspection. You can't I've been reading this book about I've been reading this book, and it's really teaching me that an untrained mind, you can't trust your mind when it's untrained, so you can't just make the assumption that everything you think and you quote unquote feel is correct when you haven't taken the time to really think about what does that mean, because there's a bunch of things coming at us. I can feel jealous of something and feel like, well, I just feel jealous, that's just a natural. No, it's like, well, I'm feeling jealous because I'm not getting what I want, and I want what you have, because I feel like I can't get it myself, because I haven't tried to get it myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the jealousy is coming from. And you have to really be able to learn how to attack that stuff with the abundance that you have around you, with, all of the stuff that you already, have cultivated. You have to really look and see. It's like, are you, because for example, if you're stressed about a relationship, which I know a lot of people are, and this is, not the time period to be getting into relationships, I feel, because it really is about yourself and what do you want. This is the time everyone, and if you're in a relationship, you need to be figuring out your positioning in a relationship and what you're providing for the other person and providing for yourself despite the relationship, kind of just that time to reflect. But when we're spending all of this time, stressed out about things, you never really know the peace of not having to stress about things. So you don't really know what that feels like, so you can't, you know what I mean? And that's that stuff, that's that Eight of Swords, where it's just like, I'm just always gonna be stressed, and no matter what, everything is always gonna be stressful. It's like, well, you have to think about what is stressful and how are you gonna be able to start fixing that with, this calming, grounded energy of abundance. So that's with that one. And then,
Definitely feels that, because my friend told me that 8 sideways is always affinity. So I feel like remembering that with AIDS is like you have to make the choice whether you want to break the cycle or if you want to keep going around and back to it. The next ones I've had, they're called activation of love cards. They're a little bit different. And it's so wild because I was just telling them literally keywords to Cancer energy. But we have release, responsibility, and transformation. And I'll read what they say before I go into them. So for release, you have the ability to give over unwanted energies to the loving forces of the universe. For transformation, you use the power of love to move through illusions and shift into awareness. It's too and responsibility, you are aware of the power of your thoughts and the amount of love you express. So, and it's very self-explanatory, but I feel like those words are just reminding us, again, you have the power to choose if you're going to respond or if you're going to react to the things that are happening. Where a response means that you take in whatever you're perceiving, whatever information's coming in, and you're able to look at yourself before sending energy back out. You're able to see, like, what does this mean? How am I supposed to learn from this? How am I able to, again, responsibility is the ability to respond. And that can, again, you mentioned like abundance, that can go into how you're moving and responding to your physical reality, or that could also go with the way that you're responding to your emotions, the way you're responding to your thoughts. And I love how you mentioned, you can't trust the brain if you haven't trained your own mind. And it's like, with that being said, it's not to shame yourself if you are in a state where, you do have to really question your mind and question the thoughts that come to you, but question in a way where it's allowing you to go deeper. If you have a thought that's doubtful or fearful, ask, why am I fearful? Why am I doubtful? Instead of reacting, which could be belittling the thought. It could tell the thought, oh, like, I just can't be anything else but this, like, just mention like the 8, like, you don't have to subject yourself to you don't have to subject yourself to your subjective experience. Use your experience to, again, always see the objectivity, always be able to realize how you can grow, how you can shift. And I feel like that's why I like the transformation card, especially with death and rebirth this year, because it is a choice. It is a choice to change. It is a choice to allow yourself to move forward and not be stagnated by whatever it is. And a lot of times it does take to look at ourselves and realize that we are the thing that's holding ourselves back from everything that we say we want. And for a lot of people, that's very difficult when you're so used to pointing the finger at everyone else or everything else. It doesn't have to even be a person. It can literally just be whatever reason that you create. And I feel like it's very important to know, like, you always have the ability to shift things, to take care of your world, to take care of your reality, to take care of what you want to create.
And my last two, which I actually really like this combination, is the Three of Swords and the Chariot. So those combined are actually really interesting because they do really wrap up the overarching message, even though it might not seem like it, but it's really saying, like, because again, swords, mind, pain, take that, whatever truth the eclipse has already shown you or is preparing to show you, take it and feel it and be, allow yourself the space to be, stressed out about it just for a second, knowing it's not going to last forever, but thinking about how, okay, this is the reality. Yeah, I'm stressed because I don't have a job right now, or yes, I'm stressed because my relationship just failed, or yes, I'm stressed because I don't know how, what I want to do moving forward. Yes, all of those things are true. And then what are you going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the Chariot is, okay. And Chariot is Cancer, you know what I mean? Like, it's really saying, like, combining the mental, I think, and the emotional, and really spearheading it and producing it out into the world. It's like, I have all of this stuff, or I have these problems, yes. But the point is the only question I have is, how am I going to create the solution? What are the solutions? And there was, like she was saying about responsibility and transformation. It's those are gonna come together. You're gonna once you take responsibility for your and the only thing you can do is take responsibility for your own actions. So it's like you might it's like you can't control the fact that you don't have a lot of income, or you don't have these relationships that you want. But you don't. That's not your worry. Your worry should be, what am I doing to keep this moving? Am I just applying for jobs, but at the same time not worrying too much? Figuring that whole thing out. I can't speak on everyone's situation, and I don't want to make it seem like it's that easy, because it's not. But at the same time, you stressing about things that are out of your control will not help. The only thing you can do is control what you can do and what you can think. So it's like, if you're stressed about whatever you're stressed about, you can focus on the stress, or you can use that stress to be like, well, what I don't want to do is sit here and be stressed. So I should practice the piano. I should practice whatever instrument, the sax, the flute. I should go on a run and exercise, try and be more healthy. I should experiment a little more with cooking and see what I can create in that type of way. I should start writing. All these different things that you can do in the meantime, instead of just stressing and doing nothing in the meantime and building yourself a bigger whole. Because by the time the opportunity comes, you'll be stronger, way more self-aware, and more clear-headed. You won't be as desperate, because a lot of the time it's like you're gonna take anything that comes to you, relationship-wise, friendship-wise, income-wise, because you're desperate. But when you're kind of like, I'm good, I've been managing this whole time, I've been distracting myself, I've been doing a bunch of things, I've been noticing what I can do in my power, my energy, and how it's been lifted. So now I would have accepted that 2 months ago, but right now I'm not going to accept it, because I'm good where I'm at, in terms of mentally and in energy wise, like just what space you're in. And that's what those two combined are really trying to say. It's like the stress and the truth you can't change. I can't necessarily change the truth of this situation, but I can change what I do about it. And the last card I wanted to pull, which I don't usually do like the bottom of the deck one, but this one they called out to me, and it was the Seven of Pentacles, which is basically just saying, things are moving, even though you see it or you don't see it, or whether you feel it or you don't feel it, or whether it's in your awareness or not. The things that you've planted are growing, and they're coming into fruition, and they're taking their time to build. And you just have to be prepared for them, because and this is why I'm really stressing this, trying to get to know and understand yourself, because the opportunity can come and you won't even know it. And what I mean, and I'll give you not a personal example, but just an example so you can understand. It could be this job which you're like, oh, it's not the best thing in the world, but I'm gonna take it because it meets the criteria, the criteria that I enjoy. 2 months ago, I would have been like, no, this, blah, 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 I don't want to do that, or whatever, or you're scared, to take that opportunity, because you're like, well, it's not everything that I need, it doesn't hit but now you're in a space where you're like, it doesn't have to fulfill every single thing, because I have other things fulfilling it. So I'm going to take it. And that opportunity turns into multiple opportunities, and it begins the pathway that you would have otherwise not seen, because you're too busy, making things true that aren't actually true, if that makes sense, So that's really what I feel like, that to wrap up the entirety of the entire reading is really like, at the end of the day, it's like you just have to be calm and at peace and be aware, because this opportunity might lead you into the other. But if you're stuck on this being it will be it. But if you're like, this is just a springboard for where I want to go and where I'm planning on heading, then it will, with a clear mind, you'll be able to see that path and not get bogged down by these petty things that just are coming into your way to really strengthen you in the end.
Thank you for the bottom deck card that I had was, I believe this is King of Fire. Yes, King of Fire. And I feel like that perfectly aligns with what you just said, because I always, the stress it gives you the opportunity to learn relief, to know how to bring yourself relief. If in this life it's an incarnation, that's something that you have to do for your journey. And I feel like having the key of fire is reminding us, again, like you have the ability to make the change. You have the force and the power already innate within you to do everything that you say you need to do and want to do. And I kind of like that because, like, I really fell in line to everything that you had. Which I love when that happens.
Right. And then it just continues to happen. So double, this is actually what you should be going on, But I think that's the end of our reading for the new moon partial solar eclipse that's coming this weekend, August 11th.
11th, which 11 is also 11-2, and that relates to Cancer energy, which is very
The
interesting.
duality and all that. So just be on the lookout for things that are happening. Just reflect and don't make any necessarily sudden moves. Don't react, respond. And just take in and make an action, don't react. And you should be finding yourself in a different headspace. Blessings.